Hello, my name is Jillian Najdzinski. I'm going to be interviewing you today for the sales associate position.
And my name's Madison Titus. I'll be assisting.
It's nice to meet you guys. I'm Jason, and I'm really looking forward to having the chance to apply for this sales associate position.
Great.
Okay, and we're going to start the interview off with a couple of questions just to learn more information about you. Could you tell us a bit about your work background or education, and then give a description of how you think it relates to this current job opening?
Yeah, sure. So I graduated from Slippery Rock University. I got my Bachelor of Science in accounting. I graduated last spring. I was an accounting major, minoring in business management. I graduated with I believe a 3.5 cumulative GPA with like an overall 3.8 major GPA as well. So I took a lot of business related classes that could most definitely help with achieving sales for this company. Some of my other previous job experience includes working as a cashier at the Slippery Rock Giant Eagle, where I handle money. So, obviously as a sales associate, you got to be good with handling money. So I was responsible for handling the cash in my cash drawer. And then I also served as a server at the Quaker Steak and Lube in Cranberry for a while there, where it was up to me to recommend different menu items to people to try to persuade them into buying some sales or any kind of discounted items that we were offering at that time. So I had to use some of my persuasion skills to help me with that. So I think that would help me in the role as a sales associate, trying to persuade people.
Perfect. What would you say it is about our company that made you want to apply for this position?
So I had heard about your company, and I was really excited to learn that you guys were now offering a sales associate position. I feel like with my background, it could most definitely benefit you guys as a company. I love a good challenge, so with as reputable as a company as I would consider you guys to be, I feel like with my persuasion abilities and persuading people to purchase our products could most definitely help us out compared to our competition.
Yeah, good. So in your own opinion, what skills do you think are most important in being successful, like as a sales associate?
Oh, well, obviously skill of persuasion, like I've been saying, you got to know how to try to make something very appealable to people for them to want to purchase it, along with coming off as being confident as well. You have to be very confident and knowledgeable in what you're talking about to try to make whatever you're talking about seem very attractive towards them. And like obviously like being able to think quickly on your feet, because they could ask a very complicated question that you might not know the answer to, and that could devastate your chances of them purchasing or not purchasing whatever you're trying to sell to them. So being confident, very knowledgeable about the product and the company itself, because you're also representing the company when you're talking to clients, trying to persuade to them.
Great. Can you give us an example of a time that you had conflicting priorities completing a task? Describe how you probably handled it.
So one time that like I can think of, which I encounter pretty frequently with my personal schedule, is that I try to prioritize my schedule so that I can work out at the gym in the morning. And there have been a few times when, say, I would have to go into work early, so I would have to, in order to resolve that situation, I would need to cut my time at the gym at half and have no choice but to go into work early and work on whatever it was that was pressing in that moment. And then, try to get whatever was done accomplished, and then go to the gym later on in the day or even like the next morning and continue what I missed. That's just one example that I can think of, like a conflicting personal event that conflicted with my work schedule. And I mean, you got to toughen up, and work is work. So it needs done over your personal life.
Okay, and assume you need to respond to a client that may get angry over a new policy that's being in place and requires extra verification. What would you do?
So any moment, with my previous work experience, I feel like I can very confidently answer this, having handled issues with complaining customers before, upset customers who wanted results done right then in the moment. Be level-headed, come off as very calm and collected and very level-headed for these people for them to calm down, to try to understand where you're coming from. And then once you have given off the appearance, very calm, cool, collected, trying to calm them down and explain why it was that the company made this decision, then you can go into detail into why our company made this decision, why we believe it was best. And if they still are very upset about it, then try to see if you can offer them something that could possibly calm them down, to try to make them less upset about the issue that is pressing. So I feel like the best thing you could do is just try to remain cool, calm, and relaxed, and try to explain to them the best you can why the company made this decision and why it was best.
Great. So for some more specific questions to the position, what would you consider your strongest skills?
So one thing I would definitely consider my strongest skills, coming from my education background, is my knowledge in business classes, specifically like legal, like one of the classes I took was legal environment of business. As a sales associate, it would most definitely be helpful to have a little bit of knowledge about some business laws, just in case, like if you were ever talking with someone, like a potential client, trying to persuade them to buy your product, they might have some legal questions as well. Did the product go through all the compliance laws to ensure its safety? So having a knowledge of that would most definitely be beneficial. Along with one of the other classes I took was business analysis and decision making. So in that class, you were given a business situation, which you try to determine the best decision to be made for the company in that moment, for the company to generate the greatest revenue while saving the most cost, along with taking multiple economics classes as well, having a very strong knowledge of numbers and how to use them, like on your feet. And one thing I think is worth mentioning as well is there were multiple semesters in college when I achieved Dean's List when taking these classes, and I graduated with cum laude honors. And I was also inducted into the Alpha Kappa Psi business fraternity as well. There were a few conferences I attended that had to do with business sales, presenting a given product and try to persuade the audience to buy it for, so that's just a little bit of knowledge that I wanted to share with you.
Yeah, nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have already touched into this a bit, but is there any very specific previous experiences that you've had that you feel will really benefit this company, whether it's work, school, personal life?
So I feel like out of all the positions I worked at in my previous job experience, I definitely feel like my job as being a waiter at Quaker Steak and Lube, that most definitely I feel like would benefit myself in this company the most, because in that position, um, at that time when I was working there, we were pretty short staffed, so not only would I have to attend to server responsibilities, like responsible for seating guests, taking their orders in a very polite and timely manner, running the food to their tables in a very timely manner as well. It's a lot of like that job is a lot, it has to do with a lot of trust. You know what I mean? So like the customers come in, they expect you to be knowledgeable about the menu, if there are any sales going on. So they have to you have to earn their trust, which is the same exact thing you would have to do in this sales associate position, and which, by the way, another thing I want to mention is there was 1 month while I was working at that Quaker Steak and Lube when I won Employee of the Month. It was, I believe, in November 2019, so I know I keep saying this, but the ability of persuasion is really crucial towards this position. And I feel like I can do that very well.
Yeah, that's great.
Great, thank you. I know we've talked a little bit about difficulties within the workplace, but specifically with customers. How do you handle a negative customer?
Yeah, so again, in that same position I worked at Quaker Steak, there were, I can imagine lots of times I faced when, customers would either be dissatisfied with their meals or the drinks that they ordered, or that they would be upset that their orders were not given to them in enough time. And most of those times, it was because we were like pretty backed up, especially on the weekend. We were always busy. We were always very busy on the weekend. And it didn't help the fact that we were short staffed either. So, I would also I would have to attend my server responsibilities along with like taking bar orders as well. It could be a little stressful, as more and more people come piling into the restaurant wanting to eat, but all that I really could do is try my best to stick to the system, the system that they had taught me while I was being trained to be a server, where it's like as a waiter, there's a series of steps you should follow, such as like going to greet them, and then when you are there, ask them for their drink orders, and then ask them if they had taken a look at the menu yet, and ask them if they're interested in any appetizers. You try to remember that methodical system the best you can under pressure, and that is the only clear way to get out of a complicated situation, such as being very busy in the moment, just kind of like with more and more people coming in, people being upset with their orders either not being right, like they didn't like how it tastes, or it came out too late. Remain cool, calm, and collected for them, because if you start acting up as well, then that's not going to resolve anything. That's only going to add some gasoline to the fire, I feel like, and make things worse. So remain cool, calm, and collected. That's my answer.
Yeah, that's definitely a good answer. Definitely a good way to handle a very difficult, heated situation. When a problem came up at work, how would you handle it? It could be very simple or a big problem that you had to work with other people, or something you had to handle by yourself.
Yeah. So I could remember a few times in school. There were a few times in multiple classes when there would be say a group project, and the group would make a schedule that we tried our best to stick with, such as coming to scheduled meeting times frequently during the week. And there were a few group members who just never really showed up, so the best that myself and those present group members could do was to obviously try to reach out to whoever it was that wasn't coming to our group meetings. First try to reach out to them, see if what's going on, and if that was unsuccessful, then we would have to improvise like right there on the spot, and we would have to kind of like fill in their role for them, you know. So I feel like that's another thing that could benefit me in this sales associate position, because um, a lot, like a very key component of this job is coming off as as perfect as you can in front of the client, you know. So if the plan kind of like goes awry, like if there's something that just doesn't happen like it's supposed to, you got to improvise. You got to step in and do something. Try to make, or if you can't make it perfect, then you got to at least do something, you know. So quick thinking on your feet for sure.
Answer. Can you please tell me about a time that you were overwhelmed at work and how you kind of solved that?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, like I just said, I gave the example of like pretty much every weekend I worked as a server at Quaker Steak and Lube. We were always very busy, very short staffed. So you try to you try to remain as methodical, trying to focus on one task at a moment. That's the only way that you can accomplish all of those tasks in front of you, and they're all glaring back at you. So you gotta like take a look at each of them individually, and there's only so much that you can do, you know. So that was like, I gave that example when I worked at Quaker Steak and Lube, and then another example was when I was working as a cashier at Giant Eagle. It was actually my first week working there. It was Christmas Eve. It was Christmas Eve, and we got absolutely swamped with people, you know, like last minute shoppers, and we were short staffed as well. And I was one of the few cashiers, and like I remember looking back, and like my line, along with each other's registers line, was like going clear back down the aisles, and that kind of resonates with what I was just saying, because I can only focus on one customer at a time to ensure their satisfaction. Because if I try to like spread it out by like focusing on too many people at a time, then it's going to be too disorganized, you know. So there has to be a system you try to stick with and try to remain cool, calm, and collected, you know, for everyone.
Okay. All right. So that concludes our interview. Just a final question. Do you have any questions for us about the company or about the job position, anything at all?
Um, I can't really think of anything at the moment, because I've looked into the company a lot. Um, and I just want to say I would be ecstatic to work here. It would be kind of like a dream come true, you know. So I just wanted to tell you guys that I have been doing my research on the company, and I feel like many of your company's values, what the company stands for, aligns with my own personal values as well. So I just wanted to tell that to you guys.
Yes, thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.
We will be looking over your resume and talking about our interview, and we'll let you know about in a week if you have the position or not.
Okay, I appreciate that very much, and thank you for your time.
Yes,
Yeah, of
thank
course. Have a
you.
great day.
Thank you.